Hey, what's up, St. Luke family? I hope all is well. I hope you're being blessed and staying safe. I just wanted to come to you all and share a word with you about overcoming strongholds. And in our Overcomers Ministry, we always remind you of what a stronghold is. It's been a while since we've been together in that ministry, but we thank God that the literature is still relevant. So I'll go ahead and start it off with the definition of a stronghold. A stronghold is a fortified place or fortress. It is symbolic of a place of resistance. A stronghold is an area under the domination of a power that defies any challenge to its rule. We further describe a stronghold as habitations in the spirit realm or habits that are built in the mind. It becomes a mindset. It can become an attitude of how you behave. It can become thinking patterns and how begin to think about things, and then ultimately your worldview and how you see things in the world. But what the main thing is a stronghold is designed to not allow anything to rule it except for the stronghold. That stronghold is ruling, in essence, you, and nothing else can come and rule and shape and lead you except for that stronghold. So, the last time that I spoke to you all, I spoke about acknowledging what your stronghold is and admitting helplessness. So, this week, we're going to start looking at those steps and how we can practically overcome strongholds. So, once we figure out what our stronghold is or our strongholds are, and admit that we don't have the power within us by ourselves to just overcome a lot of these things that we deal with. So step two says, believe all things are possible through Christ. The two scriptures that we use in Overcomers Ministry to address this step are one, Philippians 4, chapter 13, and the second one is Matthew 19, verse 26. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Matthew 19:26 says, but Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. So, to understand really what Paul and Jesus were addressing with the crowds that they were speaking to, we need to go back and look and see what they were talking about. So, we'll first start off in Philippians and we'll see who was Paul talking to. We know that in Philippians he was writing to the people at the church of Philippi. So let's go back a little further and dig into what he meant. So this part of the letter, Paul was thanking them for their graciousness and their concern towards him. We'll start in verse 11, and I'm reading. I think this is the ESV version. It says, no, this is the ESV version. Verse 11 says, not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So, what Paul is telling the church, the people of the church at Philippi, is that no matter what situation I find myself in, whether I'm in a stronghold that has humiliated me, humbled me, and then the New King James Version, the writing uses the word abased, anything that has lowered me, degraded me, no matter what that situation, or whether it's a situation where I'm exalted. In my stronghold, I can still be exalted. Whether it's that situation, I find myself to be content. I've learned the secret is to be content. Accept who you are. Accept the circumstances that surround your life. Be content. Paul is able to be content because he knows within himself There's no good thing. But he knows that he can do all things through him who strengthens me. The him is Christ. What Paul is saying is that in myself, there's no good, there's nothing but flesh, there's no power. There's no power that lies within me and in my flesh. But through the one who I serve, my master, my Christ, through him, he strengthens me. That allows me to be able to do all things. So when you find yourself in a situation that you need to overcome, again, whether it brings you low or whether it exalts you high, think about all these young people, this young culture. They're doing things that are contrary to God. Those things that they do, the things that they put out, that they influence people with, the words, their actions, their very appearance, their character. It defies the rule of God in their life. They have a mindset and a mentality that has a fortress built around it. That what they're doing is okay. And they're not responsible for other people. They're okay with everything that they're doing. And no judgment. It is what it is. But it defies the rule of God in their life. So it becomes a stronghold, regardless of them being lifted high. So Paul is saying, in whatever situation, once I acknowledge that it's a stronghold, I know that there's it's not possible for me to fix it. But through God, I can do all things. Through Christ who strengthens me, I can do all things. The next scripture comes from Matthew chapter 19, verse 26. And I think this one is New King James Version. And so I'm going to start at verse 25. Well, I'll just tell you, Jesus is talking to the disciples about who can enter heaven. And he tells them about how hard it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And he says it's like a camel trying to fit through the eye of a needle, and says that camel going through the eye of a needle is easier than and more capable than a rich man being entered into heaven. And verse 25 says, when his disciples heard it, they were greatly astonished, saying, Who who then can be saved? But Jesus looked at them and said to them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And again, going back to whatever you're dealing with in this natural world, there are things that happen in this natural world that are impossible for men. The things that you struggle with, the things that are deep rooted, that are overtaking your life, they are a strong hold over your life. They defy being ruled and submitting to God's will for your life. Those strongholds want to run and dominate your life. But what Jesus tells us, on earth, amongst men, in the flesh, it's impossible. That's why people, when we deal with certain things and we try to fix them on our own, we find ourselves back in those situations because we're trying to find some strength within ourselves, within our flesh to overcome. But Paul and Jesus are clearly telling us the power does not come from us in our flesh. The power resides in the one who rests within us. It comes from Christ who rests within us. Because with God, anything we try to do, as long as we do it according to his will, allowing him to dominate our lives, submitting our will to him, then those things become possible. The things that men say you'll never do, the things that men say that you'll never be, the things that men say you'll never overcome, Jesus said you will through God, because with him all things are possible. And because with him all things are possible, you and I can do anything. Anything is possible because it's him who strengthens us. I hope this word blesses you like it blessed me. I hope you stay safe and stay blessed. Until we meet again, y'all take care. Love you guys.